Aloha. This is JPAstrology, and this is Kinu Gabriel. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about relationships. Everyone's in relationships right now. Relationships are a big topic because Mercury is 16 degrees in Libra, which means that our minds are very occupied with creating balance and harmony with others to position ourselves for some kind of happiness, whether that be spiritual, material, so it depends on other planets and our positions and various tendencies and habits, but definitely looking to position ourselves for harmony and balance in our relationships right now. So, and that could be relationships with the world or relationships with really anyone. But particularly with adults and our peers and people that we love and people that we like and people that perhaps are of use to us, or at least that we are projecting use anyway, because most of it is a projection. At least until we're aware, until we can intuitively understand all the different planets and what their relationships are. And that's what relationship astrology is really about. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and what that really means. So for instance, Mercury 16 degrees, creating harmony in our relationships, occupying our minds with how to create harmony, or at least sort of the process of creating harmony with other people. And it's in direct relationship to Mars retrograde, 0 degrees, about to go into Pisces, not quite there yet, but pretty much there, 29 degrees Pisces. Still in relationship with Mars, because Mars is going to rubber band back to Aries anyway, and Aries is really active. And so in this way, for instance, there is this counterbalance, this relationship between creating harmony with others and being frustrated that we can't express ourselves, we can't express our deep emotions, we don't really know how to organize our thoughts in the right way, and we get frustrated with ourselves, we get frustrated with other people, we start projecting our own inability to actually communicate something with other people, and then that creates a type of inner anger and emotional upset within us, right? So that's like an example between Mars and Mercury. Mars and Mercury have a very interesting relationship, fairly neutral, but there can be a little bit of sort of upset, especially on Mercury's side, because the mind really wants to just be able to communicate and just have things be able to transact. It really wants to move. And Mars is oftentimes really just focused on what it wants and how to survive. And so there can be a little bit of frustration because our tendency to think in black and white and our tendency to have dualistic thinking and thinking that things are this, things are that, and that's the way it is, not being open to ideas, not being open to communication, it can really be frustrating to the innate intention for human beings, for all of us, to really just, want to express something and want to be heard. And that's really what Libra is all about, is just being heard and having a fair sense of interaction with other people and not just being narcissistic and, focusing on what we want. And so there's this tendency right now, definitely in relation with Mars and Aries, to really encounter people who are stuck in their survival and who are stuck in their sort of mental occupation with what they want and what they need and how to survive and so forth. And we're not able to connect with other people, and that's very frustrating. Very, 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 very frustrating thing. So people are kind of checking out in that way, and headed more towards video games and movies and things like, especially as those things start to open up more, and we start checking out into fantasies and being less in reality. And this disables our empowerment. This disempowers us. This creates a sense of a sense of a vacuum, in that we aren't able to work with others to actually create our goals and create our heaven on earth and create our future, because people are checking out and we can't even really communicate with each other. So like that's a big thing that's happening, and that's just seen in Mercury and Mars right now, not even with a specific GPS location, just kind of where I am, but just looking at where the planetary situation is. So this is how we can look at relationships with the planets. This is how we look at relationships with different people. When people have seventh house relationships, or opposite relationships, as it's called in tropical astrology, which is basically the idea that you're in a relationship when something is right in front of you, and that's the seventh house. You're married to that being, at least for the current time and space. They're in front of you. It's just like how, every day that the sun rises, the sun goes down, and those are the opposite parts of the day. And so we have awareness on this end, and we have what we're aware of on that end, and that's the seventh house. So, for instance, we have Ketu and Rahu going in Scorpio and Taurus relationship very recently, and they'll be here, for the next 2 years, year and a half, something like that. And huge, huge, huge impact on our world right now. Huge impact on our psyche. Huge impact on our emotions. And K2 represents past lives and our past experience, our past traumas, our past habits, just the things that we're used to, the things that we tend to do, the sort of potential or potentiality of choice or of decision that we have. And that's K2. And right now, K2 and Rahu are both 29 degrees, which is all about really connecting with a sense of like a plan or a sense of ending, a sense of transition, and going into like a new dimension and going into something proper, going into something new, something else, some other place, some other thing that is outside of what we're used to and outside of what was before. So here in Scorpio and Taurus, there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of people dealing with shadow work, a lot of people getting the karma from our old negative thoughts, from our old, every time we were like, I hate you, underneath our breath. And, we were, thinking about how, we wish someone harm in the back of our mind. And like we're receiving that karma just as much as we're receiving, envisioning, and fantasizing about other people's benefit. And we're fantasizing about them living happily and smiling and having a good job and all sorts of things. We're also getting the benefit from that karma as well, from those actions as well. So like that's kind of what K2 here is in Scorpio, is really just looking at our fears and how much we've conquered our fears, and really, coming to terms with where we're currently at in terms of our relationships and how much openness and trust we have for other people. And in direct opposition to that, we have the moon, which is just transiting. So we're dealing with our emotion to just get what we want, and figuring out how to do that and making a plan how to do that emotionally, which may not be actually aligned with what we had, but that's going to be, it's good to meditate on these things, and it's good to get some clarity while we can anyway, because we'll be in a little bit emotional turbulence in a day when moon goes into Gemini. But really, the K2 and Rahu relationship right now is just where it's at, and Rahu just wants to rush. Rahu wants to search. Rahu wants to wonder. We're wondering. We're searching for happiness. We're searching for anything. If you noticed, one of the biggest questions right now that people have, and I made a video about this earlier, which is like, does anyone else? Because we don't really know what reality is right now. We don't know what's going on, and so everyone is just asking, well, does anyone else experiencing what I'm experiencing? Because I'm freaking out, and I don't really know what reality is anymore. Because I thought I knew, and I really don't. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, and that's what we can tell between K2 and Rahu in Taurus, really kind of rushing for stability and really wanting stability. And that's where we'll be at for the next 2 years. Everyone is just going to be rushing towards stability, and whatever option the powers that be give us, oh, hey, if you take this, your life will be stable, people will take it, because we absolutely are rushing and sort of looking for the easiest path to stability. And you better believe that so many people will take that easy path, because they don't really know what stability is. And they don't really know that stability actually takes time and effort. And rushing it never ends well. So anyway, so that's a little bit about relationships and how we look at a relationship in astrology. Those are the two biggest things, literally in a cross between Aries and Taurus and Scorpio and Libra. So just wanted to take a look. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching Jaguar Power Astrology. If you would like a reading, please connect with me. If you want some spiritual power-ups or some insight into your life, into other people's, issues that you may be having in your relationships, feel free to connect. I'll have all the info on the bottom there. Mahalo, mini mahalo, mahalo nui, aloha. God bless you. Yeah, cool. Hope.